Hi everybody. Firstly, I'm very sorry for the confusion about the 8.2 and the 7.01, and I'm tired of it too. I just want to get coding, and I know you guys want to get coding, so we're going 8.2. There may be some incompatibilities, as I've told you, with some of the exercises that have been pre-made. I'm going to do my best to make sure that we avoid all that stuff, but onward and upward. So, what I want to do is I want to move on, and I want to start doing some basic Java looping. So hopefully you've done some of this in grade 11, and in looping, there's for loops and there's while loops, and so we're going to start with that stuff. Now, to do that, what I want to do along with it is get user input. So we're going to start doing some command line stuff. So if you look at the bottom down here, this is where the output's going to be. Okay, I can see I've already run a program. I deleted it so that you guys could kind of see how I'm doing it. But you're going to see input areas and you're going to see your output down here. Okay, so I'm going to do an example of a program for you using what we call the scanner and a loop at the same time. So in Java, there's a library that called the scanner, and that allows us to scan for user input. And so I need to import that library. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say import java.util.scanner. Why do I know that? Because I've used it many times. And if you look it up online, you'll find that this is a library, like I said, that allows you to get input from the user. Okay. Now the underline is because I haven't used it. Down here in the main, this is where I'm going to actually use it. So I'm going to create the scanner object. So I'm going to say scanner s equals new scanner. And notice if I do this, I get an error. That's because you have to tell the scanner where it's looking. And what I want it to do is I want to look from the system input. Okay, so this is the standard input stream. All right, so now we're good to go. What I'm doing here is I'm getting set up to get user input. Now, I want my program to be nicely formatted, so you can see down here I had a title, right? Sum up to a number. That's kind of what I'm doing in this program. So I'm going to say system.out.println, and that means basically put something out to the console, and this is my title. I'm going to say sum up to a number. Now by saying this, the print line, what that does is it means it's going to print something and go to the next line. Okay? I can also include \n, and that means it's going to do a break line. So when you say print line, it's going to go to the next line. If I include this, it's also going to go to the next line. Two different ways to do that. Okay, and then I'm going to ask for user input. What I want to do in this program is I'd like to make a program that's going to add up the numbers from 1 all the way up to whatever the user wants to go up to. Okay, so here I need to start getting some user input. So what I do is I say system.out.println what number would you like to go up to? Include a space. And here I want to get user input. So what I do is I go s dot, and then I can see all of the different methods and properties of the scanner object I've created. Okay. Now if I go down here, one of them is next int. So if I choose next int, what it does is it takes in the user input as an integer. If I were to choose next right here, it would take it in as a string. Okay, but since I'm doing some math and looping, I want it as an integer. So I select that one and I say okay, s.nextInt. Now I haven't done anything with it yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want to make an integer variable. I'm not going to be super hard on you guys for structure. Coders kind of have their own, naming conventions and stuff like that. It should make sense. I like to start every integer variable with an I. So I'll say I input. So I'm saying, okay, I'm going to make a new variable that's going to hold an integer value. I'm going to call it I input, and it's going to take in whatever integer it gets from the user. All right, so far so good. So now I need to start my loop. So I'm going to make a loop, again, that goes from 1 all the way up to whatever the user picks. So for int x equals 0, x has to be less than I input, x plus plus, Some of you may see a little problem there. I see it too. We're going to get to it in a minute. And then I'm going to put stuff in my for loop. This is the general look of a for loop in Java. You say, okay, I'm going to start at a certain value of an integer. So my integer is x. It's going to start at 0. I'm going to keep doing something until x becomes, well, and here's the part. In this part, it's going to be until x becomes equal to I input. And I'm going to increase x by 1 every time. So this is where I iterate, and that's a fun computer word. X is going to grow by 1 every time I go through the loop. Okay? And what I want to do is I want to keep track of the sum. Now, in order to do that, I need another variable. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say int isum equals 0. Because when we start, obviously the sum is at 0. Every time we go through the loop, we want to add to isum. So I say isum is going to be equal to whatever it was before plus the current value of x. Now, for those of you who've programmed in Java before, you may see a shortcut here. You don't necessarily have to write it like that. It's better to say, hey, isum plus equals x. And what that means is add the value of x to isum as you go along. But if you did this, that would be fine too. It'd be doing the exact same thing. But I like short forms. They're good to get used to. Okay? And then at the very end, once I've got my sum, or I hope I've got my sum, I go system.out.println because I want to display the sum, and I'll say the sum is, and then I'm going to put like that. And what that means is I'm going to print out the string the sum is, and then I'm going to add on to the end the actual number that I got. Now, there are a few errors here, and they're very small little errors, I think. Let's see what they are, okay? So I'm going to run my program, and you're going to see down here is where the output's going to be. All right, so it says sum up to a number. There's my title. That's coming from there. And then I've got the break, which is what I expected. What number would you like to go up to? And now it's waiting for user input. So right now, it's executed this line right here, and it's stuck here because it's waiting for me to put something in. So I'm going to put 4. Okay, and once I put 4 and hit enter, you'll see it's going to calculate the sum. And here's where you're going to see a problem. So it says the sum is 6, and we have spacing issue there, but that's not the problem. If you do the sum from 1 to 4, you get 10. We got 6. The reason we got that is right here. What we've done is we've gone up to input, but we don't actually take into account the 4. We're actually going 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay? And so if I want to make this program better, 2 ways I can fix that error. I could either say, hey, go to input plus 1. Now I should get a 10. Okay, that worked. That's one way to fix it. Another way to fix it would be to say, go up to, so I want x to be less than or equal to the input. So now it's going to actually take into account that 4, and I think this will give you the desired result as well. And yet, there you go. There's the 10. Okay, so either way. And the other thing you may realize too is that why are you starting at 0, Mr. Swain? Because you don't, 0 plus anything doesn't matter. Why don't you just start at 1? That's a great point. Let's just start at 1. And I think here as well, we're going to wind up, yep, we're good. Okay, so you don't have to actually start at 0 since it's not going to have any effect on the outcome. You see there's a spacing issue right there. Okay, we want to get rid of that. Just add a space right there. And so it's going to actually spit out the sum is and then a space, and then it's going to put the number. If we want to be really, really nicely formatted and user-friendly, we could put the sum of 1 through, and then whatever the user put in. Like so. And so this is going to give us some nicer output. I'll say the sum of 1 through 4 is 10. That's what I should see there. And I could even, why not? Might as well get really user-friendly here. So I'm going to copy that a little bit. So I'm going to type again, say, thanks for using my sum programmer thingy, whatever. Okay. I run this, and let's go up to 4 again. We should see a 10. The sum of 1 through 4 is 10. Thanks for using my sum program. Fantastic. And if we go, let's do it one more time in a bigger number, just because bigger numbers are fun. Sum 41. Some of you will get that joke. Look it up. Sum 41. There you go. So you have learned about a scanner, how to get user input from the console, okay? And you've also seen a for loop in action. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to do the exercises that I've left for you. They should build on this. And I'd like you to actually use some while loops as well. So by the end of this exercise, you should be able to understand how for loops work, how while loops work, and use the scanner to get input from the user. Okay? As always, email me with questions. Thanks, everyone.